This is Tiger Cats postgame on the Ticats Audio Network.
There is nothing like a victory for your Hamilton Tiger Cats and the fan reaction as they depart the stadium, the ones that are still hanging around, still saluting each other, high-fiving each other. It's a wonderful feeling, and it's a better feeling knowing that your Hamilton Tiger Cats, from today's 22-15 victory over the Calgary Stampeders, are playoff bound. This is the post-game show. Bubba O'Neill, Andy Fantuz, and to say that we have had an exciting day and an exciting football game and all the frills around it would be an understatement.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you said it. We're in the playoffs. That is big news. Very exciting. And all you got to do is make it to the dance, and you always have a chance. And what a performance here by the defense and special teams tonight. Offense had their moments. You know, this team is really starting to hit their stride in certain areas, and going into the playoffs with 3 games left, this is exactly the kind of game you need to have. Not allowing the other team into the end zone. You mentioned the fans walking out of the building. There's nothing better than winning in football, and it starts with obviously the team. You have so many moving parts, all putting in so much time throughout a whole week on one common objective, and the community and the fans. They know every game means so much. Like football, you just love it. And it's such a high to come to get a victory, no matter what part of the season it is, no matter who you're playing, but one that clinches the playoffs with some special announcements with the Grey Cup halftime show and on Truth and Reconciliation Day. It's a very exciting day.
Do you know who's playing the halftime at the Grey Cup?
Green Day. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what? After we had the halftime, I was thinking about it. I was thinking, when I first started listening to music, it was Green Day. They were the ones. And then in the the 90s, the 2000s, like they must have played for four decades.
They dominated. Like, we had a 20-time Grammy-nominated band. Like, you don't get Grammy nominations 20 times and won 5, and they've been nominated for Tony Awards as well too. So you're talking about an international giant that will be in here, along with Carrie Underwood. Who knows what's going to be the announcement for Saturday? The expectations right now from what this group for Grey Cup 110 have put together has just been outstanding. But to today's game, and what we will do here on Tiger Cats post game, we will go down to the locker room. We will talk to our player of the game, who was just outstanding today, a real game changer. Coach O, I'm sure he's going to have a big smile on his face and what his team put together and what they accomplished in front of their home fans. We will review the CarStar keys to victory. We'll go roundtable style. Luke Tasker and Courtney Stephen will join us. And of course, we will do, at this very moment, our catch of the game. It's presented by Fisherman's Friend. Fisherman's Friend, it works. That's the honest truth. Second down in this contest, 10:56 remaining in the half. First down and 10 for the Tiger Cats on their own 40-yard line.
Matt Schultz in the game again. He's throwing deep for Tim White. It's caught. Matt Schultz, welcome back. Now it's a foot race to the end zone. Tim White, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. Whoa, what a play. Matt Schultz comes in and throws a bomb to Tim White. 70-yard touchdown, and the Tiger Cats are tied at 6 with a convert coming up to take the lead for the first time in this game.
Unbelievable. Matt Schultz in a drive earlier and gets a 15-yard run for a first down, and now he's back for his first throw in months being off the field, and it's a big one. Tim White, great play on the ball at the top of that, coming back and meeting the ball at the highest point and taking it another 30 yards into the end zone. What a play.
You know, I think it's fair to say that the first quarter in terms of offense, and it's been no stranger to what we've seen from the Tiger Cats all season long, kind of a grind them out, sort of slow starting offense. And in the second quarter, Coach Orlando Steinauer made a move. I mean, and we've seen him every once in a while make this move, whether it's for a change-up or, I mean, and you've been on the football field and probably experienced this, but Matt Schultz came in there, and the whole dynamic of the offense changed.
Yeah, it was the first time they tried to throw the ball deep, and maybe they caught Calgary by surprise because they were sort of dinking and dunking in the first quarter. But he gave his receiver an opportunity on a 50-50 ball. It was a little bit underthrown, but because you're throwing it to your best player, your best receiver downfield, he's able to kind of stop his feet. He knows where the ball is. The defender does, and he was just trying to play catch-up on Tim White, who is fast as lightning out there, and was able to jump up, high point the ball, and then make a nice move on the safety, cut inside, and take care of the rest on his own. And after that play, you saw the receivers going downfield on the deep balls a number of times in that first quarter. In the second quarter, in the first half. And you're right, the dynamic totally changed. He was, Matthew Schultz was not shy to throw that past the second level. And it really opened up the game for the Ticat offense. Which
is, I think, a perfect time right now to review our CarStar keys to victory right now, because I think what we saw there with that quarterback change ties in with your first point.
Yeah, so my first point was take shots downfield early, and I was disappointed in the first quarter. And I can't really give it a passing grade because it is early the second quarter, but when you consider when Schultz came in, it was the first play, his first throw of the game. So it's kind of one of those weird ones that I'll give it the passing grade because Schultz ended up finishing the game with the victory, and it was his first throw, and he had a number of those third-level throws in the second quarter.
As we bring in Luke Tasker as well, too, as we're talking about the ability to stretch the field, and that was one of Andy's CarStar keys to victory, his very first point, actually. And that's certainly what we saw. And what I liked about the second touchdown pass, and I think you guys can break this down from a more of a receiver standpoint, is the fact that that ball was put in a place where, one, it just sort of dropped in nicely there, Luke.
Yes, absolutely. I was really impressed with that, and I like they're able to stretch the field, not on every drive, not consistently, Andy, like you said. I like how it's kind of a win, kind of not a win there. But the times that they did, you saw Tim White, Terry Godwin, Keandre Smith all get a catch over 20 yards, over 25 yards in this game. And I love Matt Schultz's throw to Terry Godwin in the end zone. That just is in a smart place. There's no risk of an interception. You're not going to risk losing where they were that already had that field position. And Terry Godwin, that is very impressive that he took his eyes off the ball to turn his head and catch it over the other shoulder. And it's experience, it's timing, and just a very impressive play both from Schultz and Godwin.
It was an interesting formation. I don't know if you caught it at the start there, because Terry Godwin, it was a 1-by-4, and so he was the only receiver into the boundary, and he kind of cut his split to almost a tight end position. And they had the fourth receiver to the field come in for an extra blocker, because when Terry Godwin came off the line, he got bumped by a linebacker and sort of got disoriented. And I think that's why he was looking inside, because the way the play was designed, you had a couple receivers running from the field side across the field deep, and it doesn't really make sense that he'd be running just a go on that. I think it was designed to be a corner. That's how Matthew Schultz threw it, and it gave Terry enough time. Because he got hit, he was sort of disoriented. He was looking inside, and then he was like, oh, and then he turned around, like Luke said, found the ball because it was perfectly dropped in. You don't often see corner routes from the X receiver. I guess where I'm going with this long story. So a cool play design and a beautiful ball. Yeah, that was great to see.
CarStar key to victory number 2.
Number 2 was stop the run, and this was really important in the first half when they didn't have anything going offensively, to keep Kadeem Carey to 21 yards, and Mills had 16 yards in the first half. The Stamps ended up with 92 rushing yards, but I think you have to put that in perspective. When with the Ticats only having 14 first downs in the whole game, that means the Calgary offense was out there a lot and had a lot of opportunities to get offense, both in the air and on the ground. And that's what makes this defensive performance that much more impressive to me. They gave up 314 net offense of yards to Calgary, but because Calgary had so many opportunities on the field, that's a very impressive number, and to keep them out of the end zone even more important. But we're talking about rush yards right now. I'm going to give that a passing grade for sure, because they kept the Stamps under 100 rushing yards total, and with a lot of opportunity.
And certainly Calgary, as we bring in Courtney Stevens as well, too. I look at what Paredes, I mean, this guy's an unbelievable field goal kicker. Let's just say this guy is unbelievable. But his field goals were 44, 44, 46, 30, and 47. So that's talking about a defense, and especially a front four that is containing the run. And Courtney, they're not getting into the red zone. It was very impressive.
I thought the Ticats defense did exactly what they had to do today. I mean, in games earlier this year, you would have seen at least one explosive play that kind of opened things up and made it too interesting. But I thought they did a great job keeping the pressure on. They played in the backfield all night long, and if it wasn't a sack, the presence was felt and the timing was changed, and I think that impacted the way that we kept this score under 21, and that's what you got to do on defense.
And I think when you look at the quarterback, Jake Mayer, who leads the league in completions and attempts, here's the situation: 44 attempts, but yardage, guys, 239. I'll take that all day long.
All day. And again, it comes back to how many chances they had, and there was really no sign of leakage in that defense. They felt in control. They were getting, Calgary was putting together some first downs here and there, but overall they felt in total control of that game.
Let's get down to the locker room and connect with our performer of the game, presented by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength. As we talk to Tyreik McAllister, and this exclusive post-game interview is presented by Access Storage. Score a touchdown with affordable storage. Access Storage has flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Try 4 weeks free. Details at accessstorage.ca. Here we are down in the locker room. Tyreik McAllister, I'll tell you, congratulations on the victory. Congratulations to your Tiger Cats teammate. You're going to the playoffs, and your contributions were outstanding today. It seemed like every time you touched the ball, there was some type of explosion happening, and it was very exciting to watch.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Anytime I get the ball, no matter if it's on offense or special teams, I try to make a big play for my team, because I know at some point we're going to need it. So that's all I try to do.
Yeah, well, they came at clutch moments, especially in the second half with a few long ones in a row. Tyreik, I got to ask you, is it more frustrating to get tackled as soon as you catch the ball, or to get tackled by sort of the last line of defense after you break a 30 or 50-yarder?
It's definitely getting tackled by the last line of defense, because most of the time I don't even see them. So it's like, I see the end zone and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to score this. This is going to be the one. And then somehow I just end up on the ground. So I definitely say it's getting tackled by the last line of defense.
Tyreik, great job, especially in the fourth quarter. He had two drives out of 3 that you gave your offense the ball across the center line. We know that's something Jeff Reinbold loves to get from his special teams unit. The last big return you had there, you caught it way on the far side of the field, the 10-yard line, and brought it all the way back around. Talk us through that return. Is that designed for you to bring that back to the field?
Nah, that punt return, we had it as just like a middle return. But what they did, they decided to kick away from what they usually do. So they usually kick to the boundary, but they kicked to the field that time. So when I caught the ball, I just tried to make a play, and that's where it was, all the way backside to the field. So that's what that was.
Hey, Tyreik, this game was one that was important in making a push to the playoffs and getting some momentum going into the late part of the season. How much does it matter more for you every time when you get the ball in these kinds of situations when there's a little bit more on the line?
It matters a lot, because I know where our team at, and I know where we want to be. So it's important for me to make those plays. I know my coaches and my teammates got that trust in me to make that play every single time I'm out there. So it's important for me to make that play.
You know, Tyreik, you played a little offense today, 1 reception, but 22 yards at that. You feel like playing offense is well suited to your skills?
Yeah, of course. I think with the ball in my hands anyway, I'm a dynamic player. So anywhere I can get the ball, whether it's on offense or special teams, I'm a big play waiting to happen. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations. Again, enjoy your week of practice coming up. Big road trip going to Saskatchewan. You ever been to Regina before?
I haven't. This is going to be my first time, so I'm going to be excited to go.
Very hostile crowd, and it's going to be a fun environment, and good to see you guys all ready and prepared for a big game. You're in the playoffs, folks, and now it's that drive for second place. Enjoy your time with the boys tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much.
Tyreik McAllister, our performer of the game, presented by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength. And boy, I'll start with you, Courtney. You played special teams for so long, and we talk about guys like that. And all I can say, and I think we use this phrase kind of liberally, but he really fits it. Game changer.
Man, he told us better than we could say ourselves. He's a big play waiting to happen. And I love that. You have to have a certain amount of swagger and confidence when you're carrying the ball on special teams, because that's athletes in space. And those are where the biggest plays happen. He did not disappoint today.
Well, let's look at his stat line here. 8 punt returns, 121 yards. So that's a 15.1 average with a 54 long. He also had a kickoff return for 19 and a missed field goal return for 22. But there was some hidden yardage there, too. There were some penalties on kick returns that he had a nice returns on. So it just seemed like, and let me back up, especially after the first 2 returns were about 2-yard returns, to have those kind of stats, it means every one after that. So our recent memory, every time we remember him touching the ball, it was just making people miss, getting a spark for the team. So that is incredible right there.
Let me ask you, Luke, and I'll throw it to you here, Luke. When you're on offense, and Andy, you can certainly chip in here too, when you get that good return from their specials, what's the feeling offensively when you hit the field?
So freeing, man. When you only got 60 or 50, 45 yards to go to score points, that's a really different feeling. And the inverse is true, too. And RJ is he peeks over at me in the booth when there's a penalty on the return team. Because the inverse of that, when you're taking the field and getting in your offensive huddle and then marching back 10 yards or marching back 15 yards because of a holding or something like that in your return, totally deflating. I mean, it really takes the wind out of the offense, who's trying to getting ready for their drive, marching back, towards their own goalpost in that penalty. And when Tyreik, and I remember so many times when Speedy B, broke open a huge return, and you take the field feeling like, man, all our work's already done for us, half of it at least, and then we have just a couple first downs before one of us is going to score a touchdown. So it's unbelievably lifting emotionally at that point in the game. The thing I really admire too about Tyreik McAllister, a lot of action in the fourth quarter. 2 of those big returns, and it's like there's just something special at the moment when the game has to break one way or another. One team is going to end up winning this thing, and as that clock ticks down, it's big playmakers, end up showing up at the end of games like that. And twice he did it in the fourth quarter. That's that playmaker sort of X factor, and that kind of also ends up coming alive oftentimes when playoffs become a reality too. So excited to see Tyreik McAllister as the season comes near its end.
Andy, let's just finish up the Carstar Keys to Victory number 3.
Number 3 was win the turnover battle, and they actually lost that tonight. The Cats had that, they went for a fake punt in the first half. It was a clever play design, and it looked like it was open, but the defensive line or front made a nice play by reading the throw and batting it down. So that was a turnover, and then Matthew Schultz threw an interception. The Ticats only caused that one fumble that Will Sunderland recovered, and so they lost 2-1. So now we're down to -2 overall in the season turnover ratio.
But can I say that forced fumble could have been an explosive play in the other direction?
Yeah, hidden yardage.
I thought that was stepping to the contact with intent to get that ball out or to make something happen. So that was a great play. I believe it was Kenneth George Jr. who stuck his nose in there, and then Johnny on the spot, Will Sunderland picking it up. So,
and the Cats also had a few of the deep balls that Jake Mayer threw that that they sort of broke up themselves, but Katsantonis leaping over top of a Tiger Cat DB who was they both had about 50% chance of catching it, where the receiver had 0% chance.
Right, 50-50 ball in a different kind of way.
Yeah, and it fell incomplete. Must have been 3 times.
Yeah, and you had Chris Edwards force the fumble early in the game that Calgary recovered, their own fumble early on. And so, yeah, just solid tackling and just a total lack of Calgary's ability to not only produce in the score zone, but to get into the score zone. Just really dominant by the defense.
We have exclusive access to the coaching room. Time to check in with Coach Orlando Steinauer, presented by Access Storage. Score a touchdown with affordable storage. Access Storage has flexible storage solutions at a store near you. Try 4 weeks free. Details at accessstorage.ca. Well, Coach O, I think when you begin the season, I think the job one is to get yourself into the playoffs. Congratulations, you've made it.
Thank you. Yeah, let's make a run at this thing. It's been a long journey, but hey, we're built for this, and I like where we're at, but we definitely can't rest right now. We're gonna have to build on this. We didn't play a perfect game, but the perfect game hasn't been played. But very proud of all 3 phases. They all stepped up in a timely way.
Coach, we were just talking about the special teams fake, and it was a clever design. It looked like it was there. The front made a nice play to bat it down. I got to ask, how many weeks now has Jeff Reinbold been trying to put a fake into the game?
Every week. Every week. But, every week a team doesn't give you certain looks. And, we got the look we wanted. And, sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. And, they made a great play. But when you look at the tape, it was definitely there. We kind of had a choice of the wheel or the slant, and then just credit them. But if you don't try, you don't know.
Coach, early in this half of the season here, we saw Ticats defense that actually was near the bottom, if not the actual number 9th in the team on many defensive categories statistically. And all of a sudden, you've got 3 games left, and your defense is, I think, nothing short of dominating a football game here tonight. What do you attribute that progression and the growth of this defensive unit from the start of the season to what we're seeing now?
Yeah, I think it just maturity comes at different points in the season. I think we're extremely young in spots, and where we're not young, we're new, meaning we have CFL experience but new to our defense. And everybody's role sometimes is fluid, and it's all ever changing. And so I think sometimes just the maturity hits at different points. People have a better understanding of what's going on, and I think that's what you attribute it to. Obviously, we're making a lot more plays. We're taking the ball away. You can get to the tangible things real easy. We're taking the ball away. We're not turning it over as much. And when you do those sorts of things, it kind of just breeds confidence and success.
Coach, in 2022, it seemed like the waiting room was a common theme. Not as much this year, but you had a couple guys called up, and it seemed like they answered the bell. Will Sunderland had a solid game. And then somebody who didn't even get a chance to be in the waiting room, Jamal Davis came over. He signed on Wednesday, made a big play today. Talk about being ready for your moment.
Boy, you said it nicely, and that's why we call it the waiting room, is that, everybody's going to be seen at some point. And, just especially on a day 3 change, it's it can be tough. And that's why you say you got to stay ready, right? And I'm just so proud that, Will's been with us since last year. He knows the defense well. And I think the thing that's, not mentioned much is George moves in, who's really settled in at boundary corner. He's, it's not that easy just to move into halfback, and I thought he just did a tremendous job for us. And, it's hard to single out people, but just great play across the board, and I thought the defense did a tremendous job. The front collapsed the pocket, and special teams had some big returns, and then offense, it's hard to get behind that defense. They play deep, and we were able to get behind them a couple times.
Coach, the offense was struggling in the first quarter. Matthew Schultz comes in, gives an immediate spark to the team. I got to ask, who's going to be the QB1 coming into this practice week?
Yeah, we're going to enjoy this one and look at all our options at that point, and just super proud of Matt And, what a story for him where, his career possibly was in jeopardy. And he, and then the season for sure. And then now all of a sudden he's out there, running quarterback counter. And so we think it's a good challenge to have after having, injuries to all three of them early on. So we'll take our situation right now and we'll deal with that when it presents itself.
Well, big hostile trip to the big hostile Regina Mosaic Stadium. That's going to be a tough one, getting your boys on the road, but I know you guys will be prepared and have a great week of practice, Coach. But one last quick question for you.
Sure.
Did you hear about the Grey Cup performer? Did you hear about that?
I honestly, I'm embarrassed to say no. I haven't heard anything.
Well, it's someone that sold more than 90 million records. It's by the name of Green Day.
Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's make sure we're there.
That's right.
Let's make sure we're there to enjoy it from inside. Maybe we can hear a couple beats.
There you go. Right on, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Told y'all to stick with us now. All right.
Yes, sir.
Have a great one.
Let's look forward, and I give you I'll give you credit there, Andy. I wasn't going to ask that question, but maybe you did, and it's certainly one that we have to look forward to.
I think the Hall of Famer here next to me, the most recent inductee, is Luke was going to ask the same thing.
Got to ask high school Hall of Famer. Thank you very much.
22-15 is the final score. Thank you so much for listening. For Andy Fantuz, RJ Broadhead, Luke Tasker, Courtney Stephen, our producer Peter McEwen. There's so many hands that put together this broadcast. It's been a wonderful day here at Tim Hortons for so many reasons. And folks, Carrie Underwood, Green Day, they're all coming to Hamilton. So you want to get your Grey Cup tickets right now, folks. We'll be back a week from tonight. Tiger Cats pregame presented by Greenworks, as those Ticats are in Saskatchewan. Another desperate team. Broadcast starts at 6 p.m. and we're streaming live at listen.ticats.ca and across the Ticats audio network. Good evening.